Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to our Metallica discography. So, yeah, a bit of a rarity actually that we get to do these in the morning, and we're doing this at the ripe old time of exactly 5 minutes to 12, so technically it counts. So, allow me to demonstrate to you guys just what this is all about. So, on Christmas Day of the current year, I plan on sewing everything up and putting a neat little bow on our time with Metallica for good, because I think it's sort of we're approaching the time that we should be moving on a little bit, and the only way to do this is to culminate this in a simple video called Every Single Metallica Song Ranked from Worst to Best. And the only real way of doing this with any degree of intelligence is to go through Metallica's entire library one last time and pretty much just deciding what is going to be worst to best. So that's sort of how it is. Now, as we're approaching the end of Load, and the interesting aspects is that I have, as we've been going through Load, I must admit, I have a little bit of a mixed opinion about Load, because there are some songs on this that really, really jam with Metallica's changing styles. There are some, however, a few issues like here and there. For example, there are certain songs that sound like they sort of blend into each other, so maybe a bit of a lack of distinctness is something of an issue with some songs, but less than others. But I also think it's just down to the fact that the amount there actually is on Load is probably also an issue, because 14 songs sounds a little overkill. Because I thought 12 was, on the Black Album, for example, 12 is, even if it was just 10, I think the album would have been perfect. But 14 does kind of make me wish that if there was at least, if you could have got rid of like maybe 4, maybe even 6 songs on this, I think this could have been one of the all-time greats. But you tell me what you think about that, because, well, that's the only problems I have with it, is that it can sometimes be a bit of a slog to get through if you're doing this in one go. But thankfully, as we're coming to the end, I still think that there's still great things about this. But how great? Because we now have to content ourselves with, well, Ronnie, as far as I know, coming up next time is something I'm actually anticipating quite a bit. But for the others, such as the Outlaw Thorn, I'm not too sure. But the Thorn Within, however, might present us with a different sort of beast. So, let's go. Ooh. Ooh.
disgraced
Wow. So okay, and we're ending off load actually pretty strong, if all things are to be believed. And I think the most significant part of literally doing Thorn Within is not just the idea of the representation of guilt, because it's always a really it's a fascinating little subject. It's a little subject in itself, but I think what elevates things like Thorn Within is that it feels catchier and a little bit more my sort of thing than perhaps maybe something like Poor Twisted Me or what the other one was like, oh, Wasting My Hate, or even Cure, because this one felt a bit more to the point and seemed to echo ideas that Metallica have uttered quite a few times, from guilt and interminable, like suffering from some sort of interminable disease. And we've seen themes like this in previous Metallica songs anyway, like Sad But True and Frayed Ends of Sanity. However, I think this one probably does it on average better for what we have so far, because it feels far more, because you hear the way James begins this by repenting to God. He acknowledges what he is and what his ill truly is, which is a really cool idea. And whilst there was points I was about to like dock points for this, because literally there were kind of a bit like Poor Twisted Me or Cure. There was like some parts of it where I thought that the only thing I could honestly remember was him just saying, I am the Thorn Within. Well, no, that's not particularly that fair. But what I do think is also a bit more interesting is the fact that 12 songs into this album, and on average, I would say a lot of songs on Load are roughly on average, slightly above average, and actually some are pretty cool. So I think it is a very, very middle of the road album, but that's not bad considering the way I've ranked. And by the way, before we go, I should talk about how we're actually ranking these. Is that before I even had the idea of doing this little retrospective, is that I already made up a tier list before we even started Hit the Lights, and it allowed me to have a point of reference where I could like go back and forth between certain songs, say maybe this song should place here, maybe this one should go down there. And so far I feel like our tier list is starting to fill up quite nicely. And whilst it's probably still subject to change, I still feel like what we have so far is probably good for what it is. Although there's probably maybe a few other things I'll tell you what, I may, yeah, I think that's probably, yeah, okay, so let's, with that being said, there are only now 2 more songs now to go on Load, and I think we should just bounce straight into them. So, I'll see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.